taking the time. Thank you for taking the time to, come and share your experiences with us. Just a quick background. You've already read it, but I'll just for those of you who haven't, very quickly, this webinar is about youth leadership perspectives from Europe. And very happy to have our guest for the day, Richa Tandon from Cyprus, which is in Europe. She is a TEDx speaker coach, a soft skills trainer, and an NLP practitioner. And she's been a mentor with Toastmasters International for more than 10 years and served the organization as area director, assistant division director, facilitating personal growth for teenagers and more. She facilitates numerous private schools in Nicosia, which is the capital of Cyprus, enhancing student communication, emotional intelligence, and their entrepreneurial skills. So thank you so much, Richa, for taking the time out. Over to you. Parents and students, we will take questions once Richa has shared a few things about what she does. And you can ask any and all questions post now. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone. The fact that you and I are both up on a Sunday morning and sitting in front of our screens shows how important it is for us to know what to do in this era of AI revolution to make sure that not only our future is secure and progressing, but also that of our children. So, what I will start with is asking you to think how work looked like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago. Things for our generation have changed much rapidly compared to any other generation. So, like I was saying, the way we work has changed a lot. And especially for us, I remember the time when I was in my class 12th. We had just started with emails and internet, and we all remember that nostalgic sound of internet being connecting and the thing going round in circles, and with the email having everything in the send and receive box, and we would just click and quickly disconnect because it was charged like per minute. And now we are constantly online. What has this done to the way we work and way we progress in work? We can compare that era to like climbing a ladder, which was kind of a straight and predictable path. You took certain courses, you gave certain exams, got a certain level of results, which got you into a university, which got you into a job, and then with job, you aimed to get your boss's job and then your boss's job. So it was a very linear path. However, now everything is much like climbing a wall, for the sake of a visual reference, I must say. You don't just go straight up. You have to go side, left, right, sometimes even back, and then climb again. Is this something good? Is this something bad? This is not for us to decide. This is what the reality of time is, and what we can do for ourselves, and especially for our children, because for them the job market is going to change even more rapidly, is to give them certain essential skills. I no longer like calling them soft skills because over the years they have turned into essential skills for them to be able to navigate this path with agility and adaptability. Now, human brain has been around for much longer than any kind of computers have been. And we need to harness on the power of human brain in order to achieve things that will keep our future secure. what are the things that only human brain, at least as of now and the near future, that we say we can't predict anything for very long now, what are the things that human brain is capable of, which the AI, which seems to be the buzzword when we talk about the threats to our jobs, what are the things that this human brain cannot do? It cannot adapt quickly without the human assistance. It lacks empathy. It lacks creativity and originality. Take music or video or photo generation for AI. We see on social media so much of AI generated content these days, and it is so good that really I fail to detect which one is AI and which one is real. But we all know that it works on a certain data bank, and that data bank is being provided by us. If we stop giving that data bank to it, things will start looking repetitive, old, and it loses its originality. So, staying authentic and creative is the biggest thing that we can do in order to survive this constant change. Since the Industrial Revolution, let's say, our whole focus has been on making things more, better, faster. Every machine has made us do more things in a better way in a faster time frame. So that has been the constant focus, and we have been very successful in that as humans, because that is what machines do: more, better, faster, more, better, faster. But that is not what humans do. If we try to out machine the machines, we are not likely to succeed. We are likely to succeed if we stay more human. So, today I'm going to talk about 5 plus 3 skills which I feel are essential to learn from a very young age in order to keep our human side active and growing in this era of AI. I will start with the first one, which is the critical thinking and problem solving. Now, whether it is for college, for workplace, for your any kind of competitive, not just exams, competitions in general between schools that you do, critical thinking is something that offers you unique solutions. If we see all the innovation that is happening, what is at the root of that? We often confuse innovation with invention. We are no longer inventing light bulb. That was done long ago. We are not any longer inventing phones. That was done long ago. What we are trying to do is innovate them. And by innovation, we mean that giving the same thing better functionality. And that comes from critical thinking and observance, on observing your surrounding and seeing what are the pain points that our society is facing and how can we best solve this. Today, Uber and all these taxi services, Bolt, they are all very common. But taxis existed much before these apps and these systems were developed. What they did was not invent but innovate, making it more smooth in terms of functionality, in terms of accessibility. Now, this is very important when we talk about careers related to computer science and coding, because when we see all this AI revolution happening, we all think that our children should be studying computer science and AI and robotics. That is the only way for them to be in the workforce later on. But the thing is, these are the first things that the machines will take over. Most of the coders now no longer do any bit of coding. My son, he is studying in US and he's in the final year of his masters and doing computer science and computer engineering. And he took for 2 years a class in psychology. And when he enrolled for that, I was like, I thought you were doing computer engineering. Why psychology? He said, and he explained to me that that is where how I understand what direction should I give the instructions for the code to be written. Any of these AI tools can right now write a code faster and with less errors compared to me with all this knowledge. But what it can't think on its own is in which direction to write that code. So understanding this is more important. So critical thinking is one essential skill that we need to provide our children. It is, and we can start it with very early on for children who are very young, even in their primary school, by asking simple questions like, what if? Give them scenarios, let them think of solutions, and that is what is going to come handy in adapting to this critical thinking aspect when they are in the workforce. You can also, when they are in, say, higher classes, when they are 13, 14 years old, you could enroll them for STEM challenges, hackathons, where you actually don't have to write the code and create the thing, but just to come up with a functional idea. Next, oh, why is this not moving? Yeah. Next, we are going to talk about resilience. One thing that I have noticed with our children, especially with this constant push of success and getting 99.9% marks, our, our children have not learned to embrace failures and move on with that. The expectation bar that we set is getting higher and higher. And when a child fails in anything, it could be in a debate competition, it could be in a dance class, it could be simple thing like getting into a core friend group. When they don't achieve that, what happens is instead of trying and trying in different ways, they tend to give up. They feel this is not the area for me and I'm a failure at this. Let me just move on. I see this most importantly in the fields of sports and music. You try going to start playing football or tennis or start learning swimming, and then you see someone is learning faster than you, is better than you, and is getting into teams and is winning competitions, and you suddenly decide this is not for me. Let me just go back and stick to my online games and just stick to my computer thing because I'm not good enough at it. This mindset is going to be a major roadblock in the future when we enter the workforce. Because the whole thing right now pivots around your flexibility. Because things will change and they change every year. Around 70% of the job that any of us is doing in our offices or in our work field today wasn't the same 2 to 3 years ago. If we were not adapting regularly, we would be out by now. And probably our generation still has that resilience mindset because we have grown up with a lot of failures. So this is again an important part to teach our children the circle of if you fail, learn and do it again. If you fail, learn, do it again, and not to just give up. And this flexibility comes from being open to feedback. being open to criticism, being open to listen more, not just say more. And how do we improve this in our children? We improve this by pushing them out of their comfort zone. Say they don't like to interact too much with unknown people, send them in a summer camp where their friends are not going. Let them make new friends. Let them interact with new people. Maybe they say, I am not very good at creative writing. Enroll them for an online essay competition where you say, the result doesn't matter, just do it. If they say, I am not a math genius, no problem. Go and try and do a math competition, a Olympiad, without the expectation of winning a medal. As parents, we need to enroll our children into activities without putting the pressure or the burden of getting a medal back home. Let them explore things, because when they explore, they learn that it's okay to just know things and not know it good enough to be perfect in that. The third thing is teamwork. Now, with this era of screens and phones, the most important thing that has been taken away from children is that, going out and playing in the community and being out there till the lights come on. So, enroll them for teamwork, enroll them in, say, sports or clubs or activities that require them to work together. Maybe if I am like working as a full-time teacher at school, I would encourage activities in class at the start. The morning sessions should be probably working them in a team, creating say a poem together, creating ad for a random thing. Like I would say, here's a cup, let's create a creative ad for this, and I divide you in random teams, not with your friends, and do this. These are the kind of activities that help you learn how to interact with people, how to work together, and how to see different perspectives. Because I might be wanting to say things in a different way, but my teammate would look at things differently. And unless and until we learn to work together, we'll not be able to appreciate those perspectives. And without appreciating new perspectives, we cannot move towards innovation. Also, this teaches us patience, it teaches us emotional intelligence on not always judging the other person's idea. For example, we have a team task with a math problem to solve, and in the team is one student, one child who is not top of the class in math. Probably we will be very quick at judging that this child is going to contribute the least to the whole thing. But that child might have a different perspective. He might come with a creative solution, look at the problem in a different way, because they are not looking with a linear mindset. Having that openness is what is going to come handy when you enter the workforce. And now this is my favorite one, communication skill, because this is what I do with all the students. There is no job, there is no way in which we can survive without communicating. Communication is not optional. Even if you are a backend coder who's just sitting with his screen and coding all day, you need to communicate with the machine, and that language needs to be there. And once you are done, you need to present things, maybe internally in your office. And this is something that I see lacking in our children these days, because their sentences Their way of writing has reduced to emojis now and short forms, which again is not something bad. It is more, better, faster. But that is what machines are. It's okay to interact in that way when interacting via a machine, but we need to know how to interact face to face, because this is essential when we are building our networks. And like I say, our net worth is our network. Who do we surround ourselves with? How do we collaborate? And for all that, we need to have communication skills. For this, what we can do is we can engage them in public speaking activities, debating, MUNs, all those kind of things. What we can do at home we can talk to them on different perspectives. Let maybe on breakfast table on a weekend, have a mock interview. I remember when my daughter was like 6 or 7 years old, and she wanted to buy this big set of Posca pens for her coloring. And I was like, okay, pitch me the idea. Why should I spend these many euros on buying you the Posca pens? And she was like, okay, give me half an hour. And she came back with a full PowerPoint presentations on why Posca pens are essential for her right now. So, these kind of little activities, when you do with children, it opens them up in presenting their idea and makes them more confident. And this is what is going to carry them through, whether they are giving their university interviews, or whether they are applying for jobs, or whether they are enrolling themselves into any kind of competitions. And time management, of course. We all have just 24 hours, and the amount of things that our generation had to do in those 24 hours, that has at least doubled for our children, if not more. Today, every child is not just expected to be good academically. They should have some kind of a musical instrument. They should be playing some kind of a sport. They should be good in some extra activity. They should be participating in certain things. The list is endless. And time management is the key. Setting priorities, specific goals, having answerability to time, not doing things last minute. These are some habits that we need to inculcate right from the very young age. It could be as simple as when you are getting up and getting ready for your school bus. It has to be the accountability factor being ingrained in the child's mind that I need to be there on time. I need to do this thing in a planned manner. And if for that, I need to take out my uniform the night before and place it on the chair. If I need to pack my bag and leave it near the door, if my shoes need to be polished in the night, I need to plan how can I be on time. So that is also an essential skill which I see slowly slipping out. And that is really very important. So those were the 5 top essential skills. And what is the plus 3? The plus 3 is emotional intelligence, conscious leadership, and feedback skill. Emotional intelligence, not just about yourself, like we talked about accepting failures and everything, being empathetic to others, listening, responding instead of reacting, trying to absorb first before giving our viewpoint. That is, like I can say, the first step towards creativity. Because unless and until you observe, you cannot create. Conscious leadership is about recognizing strengths in others and acknowledging that, not trying to be the person who can do it all. Because leadership is not about doing it all yourself. The most difficult thing that I see when students work in teams now, especially the teenagers, is delegating. They will be working in the team, but they cannot delegate. They will delegate for the sake of, like, okay, you will do this task, you will do this task. But what I have observed, they tend to micromanage much more than us. And because they have this feeling that if I am made the leader, then I am the best. I know all the answers and things should be done just my way. It is very difficult for our children today to let go and let someone else take accountability, take charge. So, that is another very essential thing to inculcate in the students, in the children. And then feedback, not just receiving feedback. We talked about receiving feedback, being open to accepting criticism. It's also about giving feedback, how you say it. Because if you are working in a team or if you are just talking to a friend, and the moment you start telling, let me tell you how it can be done better, what happens to us, and this is again human psychology, we have a wall up, we start defending. How do you first prepare them to accept, to receive that feedback? First, acknowledge something that is truly good in them. There is always something good in everyone, something that they did right, even if the entire project, even if the entire thing failed. It could be something as simple as neatly organizing the papers or just keeping everything on schedule. Recognize that thing truthfully. Once you do that, you have kind of softened the person and they are more ready to listen to you. And then always use conscious language. How about looking at it from this perspective? How about giving it a thought? May I suggest an alternative method? When you include yourself along with the other person, you are no longer pointing fingers, because when someone points finger at us, we don't like. It is you and me together. So instead of being a tug of war, we are on one side of the team, and that is when people listen more. So this is again something essential that students need to learn. This is about the skills. Now, things that I encourage my students to do. I'm sharing some examples of that. And these are things which, as far as I know, are open internationally and you can find them all online. Like we said about creative writing, these are some essay competitions that start from as early on as students 10 years old or 11 years old. You can enroll for them international online. They have certain deadlines. These are just two examples. There are many more of this kind. Again, let me remind you, parents, please don't enroll them in these as a competition to win medals. Enroll them to encourage their writing skills, their expression skills. And these essays mostly have university application prompts. So it kinds of gets them thinking from an early age. Then Model United Nations, MUNs, I think right now that is a big thing in every country, even in India. If you know of any MUN in the school your child is going to, or in the community around, or even online MUNs, there are a lot of online MUNs. Get the children to enroll in this and encourage them to participate, because when you work in MUNs, it teaches you many things at once. You have to research on your topic, you have to look at the perspective of that country, people of that country. You have to know how to put everything in a concise manner, because you are given just 1 to 2 minutes to kind of speak, and then to present it in a convincing manner. If you go for actual MUNs where you have to participate, where it is a 2 day, 3 day workshop, it is an excellent networking opportunity for children, where they talk, they share ideas. And MUNs, I feel, is kind of a safe environment for them to practice their skills and also to embrace defeat, because they are challenged, and it is not like a clear debate competition where like this side won and this side got the medal and this side didn't get the medal. But the best delegate award could go to a person whose resolution didn't even pass. So there's no like clear black and white areas of success and failure. So it's all very overlapped, and that is a very safe space for students to explore. Then I work with Toastmasters, and there are a lot of Toastmaster clubs in India. They have this specific program called the Youth Leadership Program, which teaches in about 10 to 12 sessions basic communication skill and leadership skill to teenagers. Reach out to a club that you know or you find online. If you go to Toastmaster International website, find a club near me. You can go find their contact details, ask them. Maybe they are running a youth leadership program, maybe not. You can ask them, do you have this program in your club? Will one of you want to come and volunteer this at our school or at our community? This again is a very good program which I have been working for now 11 years, and I really love the way it changes how the students communicate, how the teenagers talk, how they structure their ideas. So this is something very interesting. Then is the junior achievement programs. Now, I remember last time when we had this webinar with Rahul, I couldn't find a junior achievement club in India, but we have one in India, and this is their website if you want to take a note. And they run a lot of programs in the area of entrepreneurial skill and financial literacy. So every country, the programs could be different. They could be running some of them, all of them. In Cyprus here, or rather in whole of Europe, in Americas, they run something called the company program, which is where students come together and they create their own startup, not just as an idea, as an actual business model. They, by the end of the program, they have to submit a full business report, which includes their accounts, their financial balance sheet. They sell shares. This program doesn't allow you to get sponsorship. So it can't be your parent, you as parents giving you, okay, I give you 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, go create the product. No, you have to sell shares, raise a capital, and from that build your company and present it in a trade fair style. So it's a very engaging and very stimulating program. I know this club is not this club, this organization is operational in Delhi for sure. What I saw from the website, maybe you can get in touch with them, and they do things nationwide, or there is something happening in Bombay also. So these are few ideas in which we can encourage leadership in teenagers. If we want to sum it all up as one takeaway message, I would say what we need to teach our children is not to focus on the outcome, but the process. To make them understand that you are not a star only when you achieve something. You are not a star when you come first in a competition. You're not a star when you get that 99% or a full 100% marks on that test. You are a star for every single effort that takes you a step further than what you were yesterday. Once our children start understanding that, they will be loving the process more than just focusing on the outcome. It doesn't mean that we let go of our goals. That is our North Star. That is where we have to reach. The goals should be in mind, but there is no single straight line path. You could reach your destination through many different paths, and that is what needs to be explored more. So, that was from me. And if we have any questions now.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you so much for this elaborate description. I hope parents have some takeaway from this or a lot of takeaways from this. You also provided a few actionables for a few of us. Thank you for that. So, parents, if you have a query, request you to please raise your hands and I will request you to unmute yourself. Yes, Mr. or Miss MAN Mann, please unmute yourself, ask your question.
Hey Rahul, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I typed the wrong name during the login. My name
No,
is
no,
Rahul.
no worries. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Vijay, I have one question for you. I think all the points that you told were very, very valid and important this time. As we compare the previous generation versus current generation, right? The entire focus on the previous generation was getting answer. Like you are engineer, you are supposed to know the coding and you are supposed to get the output. Or it was all about answer. But now the table has turned, and with AI now it's all about questions. Like, are you able to ask the right question to the AI to really get the answer? Because answers are all out there, right? And even innovation also to a large extent now limits to what kind of innovative questions you can ask and how much can you challenge the AI, right? So for developing
Yes.
this skill, what do you recommend? What should be the course of action that today's children probably need to try out?
Again, the answer lies in the question you asked. Let them ask more questions. I give a example in some of my classes is if I asked you how to build a boat, you are going to give me some solutions. Make it with wood, make it with steel. This is the process. You can make an inflatable one. But understanding what my goal is, why do I need the boat? So we need to ask the children the why behind what they are trying to achieve. I need the boat to cross to the other side of the river. So if I flip the question now and instead of asking how do I build a boat, if I ask how do I cross the river, I expand the amount of possibilities. I could build a bridge, not just a boat. I could fly over the river. I could swim through the river with a life jacket. I could, you know, opportunities are more compared to just building a boat. So the core is asking the children why. Suppose they say, I want to pursue this particular career. Maybe I want to be an influencer, a favorite of young teenagers. I want to be a influencer because it's easy and it is engaging and people are making big money and this. Ask them the why. And once you have their why, tell them to make a list of how you think you can achieve it. One thing that I would encourage all parents is not to say no to any of their craziest and silliest idea straight away. Don't just say, what are you talking about? You've gone mad. This is not even, worth it. Ask them to research it. Okay, you want to be an influencer? Very good. Can you find out what do you need to become an influencer? How do you start? What is the equipment you need? What is the basic threshold of followers that you need and how many likes and views you need to start earning even the single dollar. When that reality they research from them for themselves, they realize it is not as simple as just making videos on your phone and becoming rich overnight. That is not how it works. Being an influencer is also a task which requires certain skill, and it has to go through a process, and you have to build it up. Let them explore things, and that is where they get a deeper understanding, and then they still might want to stick to that because they think it is possible. So allow them to experiment and research on their own. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Richa, for that.
I would
Yeah,
say
Mr. Pandit.
partial.
Mr. Pandit, you want to have a question?
No, I just unmuted. I will ask. I'm just waiting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Mant, does that answer your query?
Yeah, I mean, I would say partially, because I get your point that we need to challenge this more to think about how things will be done rather than, what is the outcome. But see, the problem is like when we were learning, and I think after we finished our education, most of us started hooking up to Google search for any answers, right? Because whenever I want to know what the influencer does, I go and ask Google search how to create video, how to edit video, how to upload, and all those kind of things, right? Now, today the problem is when we ask children to explore, I think the first thing that they will go to is again AI, right? And that is where the conflict is, because we want to learn how to talk to AI by again talking to AI. That probably won't work. So, is there any practical tip on how to handle this?
So, Richa, may I add something to this with your permission? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
please.
so Mr. Mant, the answer is really in what Richa said. From very little that I understand, it's a series of iterations that they need to try. So even if you're looking at a Claude or a ChatGPT, your first question might not be the best question. It's the iterations that you keep doing, the vocabulary changes, the sentence structure changes, what you're telling Claude or training Claude and ChatGPT or Grok changes. And over a period of time, you come to a solution where you say that in this scenario, when I'm seeking these kinds of answers, these keywords and these questions seem to get me the best response. In certain qualitative areas, it is different. Quantitative areas, it is different. A horizontal portal is different. The vertical portal is different. So similarly, the process will need to be iterative. And I'm just connecting back with what Richa said earlier. There was an age and time of inventions. This is the age and time of discoveries. So it's going to be a series of discoveries that we are going to make, even for students, which will get them the answers that they want. So I relate to what you're saying, that when we were on a YouTube or Google 10, 20 years back, or even for that matter, even today, we ask the questions how to is the keyword that we use, or we have understood that this gets the responses for us. Similarly, students will need to get to know what is the keyword or the response matrix for them to get ideas or input from the AI engines or large language models that are being used. I don't know if it's
to that. A very recent example, now that we are approaching the summers, we have exams here in June, and then July, August is entire summer break. And my daughter, who is 14, she wants to start a podcast of her own. And she said, I want to do a podcast. I said, good, go ahead, do it. And she was like, I'm going to search. I know you're going to say search for it. I will search. So she went on to AI as usual, and she forwarded me a Word document for podcast. You need this is how you record this. I said, very good. Now you know the process. Now can you please start searching where exactly you can implement this? Search for the equipment, the kind of microphone you need, the kind of recording setup you need. Can you create it at home by buying some things from Amazon? Do you have a professional recording studio in our city? How much do they charge? Do you know some people who are going to be, because she wants to make a interview kind podcast for female leadership? I said, do you know of some females whom you are going to invite? Do you have a list of their emails? How are you going to connect with them? What is the name? What is the purpose? So go deeper into it. So they will come with solutions of AI, and then initially, to get that mindset, we have to assist them in asking the why and the why and the how, and they will keep going back to AI, getting more answers. And there's nothing wrong in going to AI. This is one mindset that we as parents also need to be open with. We feel, oh, you guys are always just asking everything to AI. There's nothing wrong with that. It is a tool that is meant to help us. Allow them to use it, encourage them to use it in the right way. So we need to be that guiding light. They might not initially get the hang of asking the right questions, because we, with our experience and age, probably have more knack of asking the right questions. But ask them that question in an encouraging manner, so they go back and they get more answers. And that is how we train them in asking the correct questions, giving the right prompts to AI for getting solutions.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Rahul, I think you're muted.
So sorry. So sorry. Yeah, thank you, Richa, for that elaborate response. Any other parent who wants to shoot the question, please raise your hand. Request you to raise your hand. I'll request you to unmute. Mr. Murari Gupta, Mr. Vishal Pandit, Ms. Vidya Nair, Mr. Sachin Grover, anybody who would like to shoot a question, please raise your hand. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, hi Vishal. Please go.
Richa and Rahul bhai, I would want to know. My son is interested in cricket or gym or football, and he's not at all inclined towards academics. And although his fitness is not to that level at 15 years of age where he can become a good cricketer. And I took him to one of the best coaches in Mumbai, a cricket coach, and he said, bring your plan B for your career and then come to me for the cricket coach, which I admired. But he doesn't know at 15 years of age, where he is almost completing 16 years now. He appeared for his boards, and I got a very good advice from Rahul bhai also. So I am in a dilemma how to encourage him to explore for any further stream, or and also we are, as a parents, are concerned. वो बोलता है 11वीं में तो बॉम्बे में सब मजा करते हैं. 10 साल मैंने बहुत मेहनत किया, तो अभी मैं खाली जिम, क्रिकेट और स्विमिंग करूंगा और मजा नहीं लगेगा. सो देन वी आर वरीड कि अगर इसको कॉलेज में डाला तो ये टाइम पास करने का फुल ऑन मूड में है. सो वी थॉट के उसको सीबीएसई स्कूल में या कहीं ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में डालना पड़ेगा वेयर देयर इज सम स्ट्रक्चर एंड सम अटेंडेंस. एट द सेम टाइम एआई में ऐसा दिख रहा है कि nobody knows कि कितना एजुकेशन काम आने वाला है एट दिस एज, एंड कौन सा एजुकेशन काम आने वाला है. आई थिंक यू आर कंफर्टेबल विद हिंदी, राइट एवरीवन?
Yes.
सो एट द सेम टाइम मार्क्स के लिए कितना एनकरेज करना है उसको टू गेट गुड मार्क्स जस्ट फॉर एंट्रेंस. आई थिंक इंडिया में मार्क्स चाहिए, मतलब एंट्रेंस एग्जाम्स के लिए तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो आई थिंक आई गेव यू 3-4 concerns of mine in a mixed manner. School versus college is one of my critical thinking right now, and in India you have option to continue 2 years of schooling versus 2 years of college, 11th and 12th. And screen time is a big thing right now. In my son's life, screen time it's beyond our control to get him to. Otherwise, मैं उसको cricket, swimming, I find cricket, football and swimming to be a much safer alternative if we cannot go reduce the screen time.
Okay. Have you heard of this company Fitter? आजकल इंडिया में पुणे बेस्ड है, काफ़ी फेमस है. FITTR फॉर फिटनेस, न्यूट्रिशन एंड एवरीथिंग. उसके जो ओनर है जितेन चौकसी, एंड उसका जो मेन पार्टनर है रोहित चट्टोपाध्याय. Now Rohit is a younger brother of my friend whose husband is working here with my husband in a shipping company.
Okay.
Rohit is an MBA. उसकी भी मम्मी ने उसको डांट पीट के कॉलेज भेजा, उसको ग्रेजुएशन कराया, बीबीए कराया, एमबीए कराया. ही वॉज वर्किंग इन अ कॉर्पोरेट जॉब फॉर फ्यू ईयर्स एंड उसका पैशन था फिटनेस. उसको जिम करना था बस. बट ही चेंज्ड दैट passion of his into a business which is so successful now that वो खुद के लिए खाली अर्निंग नहीं कर रहा, he has employed so many other people. Okay, so you
Yeah.
can give this as an example to your son. What I would suggest is कि उससे एक बार बैठ के आप बात करो, ठीक है, ओपन, कि तुम्हें क्रिकेटर बनना है, तुम्हें फुटबॉलर बनना है, तुम्हें जिम करना है, वेरी गुड. जो तुम्हारा लाइफस्टाइल है अभी, जो हम एज पेरेंट्स प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, इस बेसिक लाइफस्टाइल को मेंटेन करने के लिए तुमको कितनी मंथली इनकम चाहिए? यू विल कम टू अ सर्टेन नंबर. उसमें इन्फ्लेशन जोड़ लो इन फ्यू ईयर्स, जब तक you will be independent in doing. Do you feel कि cricket, football, gym से you can make that much of income? Come up with ideas how you can bring that much money to your bank account to sustain the kind of lifestyle that you are living, which could be a basic lifestyle कि घर का रेंट, खाने का खर्चा, आपका गाड़ी का पेट्रोल. और चलो अभी इतना ही सोचो, ये मत सोचो आगे जाके आपका फैमिली होएगी, उसको सपोर्ट करना होगा, वो करना होगा. वो कैसे करेंगे वो बात की छोड़िए. अभी जो तुम अपने को अफ्लोट रखने के लिए, अपनी बेसिक लाइफस्टाइल सपोर्ट करने के लिए तुम्हें कितना खर्चा लगता है होगा इन अ मंथ. लेट्स मेक अ रियलिस्टिक assumption and see what you can do related to this field to earn that much. How
Yeah.
about going to university, learning economics, accounting, finance kind of things, and starting your own business? It could be a sports academy. That could be your calling. You might not be wanting to do a job in any firm. So, the thing that I'm trying to tell here is कि बच्चों को अगर स्पेशली हमने ये बोला नहीं ये नहीं हो सकता, ये बकवास है, तो बच्चों ने फिर वो ही करना है और उसको पकड़ के बैठ जाना है. We as parents need to stop negating them at the very start. आप लिस्ट डाउन करो, ये हमारे पैशन है, वेरी गुड. इस पैशन से what are the streams of income that you can generate? Let's have a dialogue. नहीं है, चैट जीपीटी से पूछो, ठीक है, कि मेरा ये इंटरेस्ट है, मैं इससे रिलेटेड किस किस प्रोफेशन में जा सकता हूँ, उसमें कितने पैसे मिल सकते हैं, उसके लिए मुझे किस तरीके के कॉलेज में जाना चाहिए. मे बी ही वुड लाइक टू स्टडी न्यूट्रिशन साइंस एंड बिकम अ न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट और समथिंग जो फिटनेस लेवल या उस पे है, या इनटू आजकल बहुत सारे नॉट जस्ट फिजियोथेरेपी, स्पोर्ट्स एक्सरसाइज कोच और ये सारी चीज़ें, काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हैं विच आर नॉट कन्वेंशनल प्रोफेशंस एंड स्टिल मेक यू मनी. Let him research, let him find out the answers from these screens whom they seem to trust more than us these days. तो वो जब एक कंपैरिजन इन ब्लैक एंड वाइट इन नंबर्स सामने आएगा कि अगर आप ये प्रोफेशन करते हो, इंडिया में रह के इन बॉम्बे, पूना, इन दिस रीजन आप काम करते हो, मंथली आप ऑन एन एवरेज इतना कमा सकते हो, इतनी अर्निंग में आर यू सस्टेनेबल? इफ यस, गो अहेड. इस करियर के लिए क्या पढ़ाई करनी है, क्या सब्जेक्ट्स लेने हैं, कौन से कॉलेजेस अवेलेबल हैं, लेट्स फाइंड आउट, लेट्स एक्सप्लोर. I think that will encourage them to kind of, give it a more serious thought instead of just, getting up one day and saying, मुझे तो क्रिकेटर बनना है.
And what about the instant, immediate dilemma I am in, that if I put him into a college for 2 years, he is into full on enjoyment mode, and versus a schooling where I think schooling and education is a very uncertain thing for in the age of AI. What to study? I think I missed your initial part of speech where you said ke, not like machine to machine se zyada human to machine he has to become. Like he cannot
So,
compete with a machine.
yes, definitely not. So, basic what I feel is important to tell children is कि ज़रूरी नहीं है कि पढ़ाई करके अगेन तुमको टॉपर ही बनना है, तुमको 90% ही लाना है. पढ़ाई इज़ आर सेफ्टी नेट. द बेसिक एजुकेशन, बेसिक ग्रेजुएशन इज़ अ सेफ्टी नेट. या फिर कोई टेक्निकल एजुकेशन, इट इज़ अ सेफ्टी नेट. समथिंग दैट यू कैन फॉल बैक ऑन, something that can help you as an adult to bring the basic bread on the table to sustain you. तो आपका फॉल बैक क्या है? जैसे कि उसके कोच ने भी बोला, प्लान बी क्या है? इसमें सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुए तो प्लान बी क्या है? प्लान बी है हमारी एजुकेशन. कोई भी एक सिंपल क्वालिफिकेशन जो हमें एक सिंपल सी बेसिक जॉब दिला सकती है टिल वी आर ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट. इमेजिन यू हैव टू सेट अप योर ओन क्रिकेट अकेडमी, बट उसके लिए इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट लगेगा. वो इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट कहाँ से आएगा? अगर आप कुछ एक पढ़ाई करके कुछ एक जॉब करते हो और उसको एक एज अ साइड हसल स्टार्ट करते हो, देन यू कैन स्लोली मूव फ्रॉम द जॉब टू मेकिंग दिस योर मेन प्रोफेशन. बट हर चीज़ के लिए एक ट्रांजिशन पीरियड चाहिए. दैट रियलिटी चेक टू चिल्ड्रन कि एवरीथिंग इज नॉट इंस्टेंट लाइक इट सीम्स कि बटन क्लिक करा और आंसर आ गया. लाइफ इज नॉट अ मशीन. तो एक ट्रांजिशन लगता है. वो ट्रांजिशन का आपका प्रोसेस क्या है? एंड दिस डिस्कशन यू कैन स्टार्ट टुडे इटसेल्फ, एंड दैट विल गिव यू क्लैरिटी बाय द टाइम आप ये कॉलेज और स्कूल का डिसीजन ले रहे हो. क्योंकि वो फटाफट एआई से बहुत जल्दी जल्दी सारे आंसर मिलेंगे, नंबर्स मिलेंगे. जब वो एक क्लैरिटी आएगी तो वो एक वेकअप कॉल टाइप होता है कि अच्छा ये एंगल से तो मैंने सोचा ही नहीं. Let them think and then discuss again. I don't know how it is now in India because I've been out of India for 20 plus years. But in Europe, I see a lot of technical universities जहाँ पे आपको कोई बेसिक स्किल सिखाई जा रही है. बी इट लाइक कुकिंग, बी इट जस्ट इंस्टेड ऑफ डूइंग मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग इन अ यूनिवर्सिटी, आप कुछ मैकेनिक्स का कोर्स कर रहे हो विच इज़ अ मोर हैंड्स ऑन थिंग. तो ऐसे ही स्पोर्ट्स की भी चीज़ें हो सकती हैं. तो नॉट जस्ट द चाइल्ड, you also need to explore more with a more open mind and see the possibilities where we can find a balance between academic and his interest of sports. It is challenging, but I think that is the best way forward.
All right, thank you, Richa, for that extended response. Mr. Pandit, we can continue the conversation, but I have one more parent who's wanting to ask a question. If you're okay, we'll go to Mr. Sachin Grover. Yeah, Mr. Grover, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks Rahul for inviting us, and thank you Richa ji for sharing your perspective. I think AI is also a little touchy topic for me also. I'm in the IT space, but I've been actually trying to understand again, and you did touch upon some of those aspects that you can't get away. We will have to embrace this somehow. But I'm also worried and I'm very concerned about the cognitive decline over the years on the over reliance of the AI. And my question to you, maybe again with your experience, what do you think? How do we balance this part? How do we, and maybe Rahul, from your perspective, from a kid's perspective, how do we ensure कि इतना करना चाहिए, इतना नहीं करना चाहिए? How do we ensure? Is there a way? Are we thinking about it? Are there some practices that we need to follow? I'm मतलब worried because some of these things there's not in control also. हम लोग बच्चों को बोल देते हैं चलो देख लो आप चैट जीपीटी से पूछ लो, and then maybe teachers may be suggesting or may not be suggesting, but over the years we might see this probably will get declined. हमने तो हर चीज हाथ से करी है, but I don't know how this will. Is there something that you can guide us on that?
So again, I'll explain this with an example. I run a communication club at one of the private schools here. Or the first exercise, if I give them to write a icebreaker speech or something, the first thing that they do is, can we use AI? Can we use ChatGPT? क्योंकि स्कूल में टोटली बैन है. एंड स्कूल में बैन होने के बाद भी I know, because my daughter is sitting right next to me when she is doing her homework, I see her doing 90% of the time with AI. बच्चों को, टीचर्स को और पेरेंट्स को बुद्धू बनाना बहुत अच्छे से आता है. तो when I tell the students, yes, it's fine, you can do your first draft with AI, they are like, really miss? मतलब आप अलाउ कर रहे हो स्कूल में तो क्या? And then I tell them, use it as your initial draft. But anything that doesn't have an element of you, that doesn't have your core thought process, whether it is writing a essay on a topic or solving a problem or designing some kind of a logo or something, koi artwork, if that doesn't have an element of you, it is not going to stand out. सब लोग अगर क्लास के वही करेंगे, अगेन अंडरस्टैंड हाउ AI वर्क्स. इट वर्क्स विद द डेटा दैट इट हैज. तो सबको ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर सा आंसर मिलेगा. एंड दिस दे सी बिकॉज आई हैव अ बैच ऑफ 20 स्टूडेंट्स एंड व्हेन द फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट दे ऑल कम विद AI, सबको लगता है अच्छा कुछ कुछ वर्ड्स और पैटर्न और स्ट्रक्चर बड़ा रिपीटेड सा है, हम सारे बोल रहे हैं, ऐसा लग रहा है एक ही जने का थॉट प्रोसेस आ रहा है. And that is when I say, so this is what is your initial starting point. अब इसको सोचो, how can you personalize it? How can you change it? How can you make it own? Remove the things that look disconnected to you and add a personal element to it. कुछ personal story, कुछ personal experience उसमें add करो and own it. AI use करना, assistance use करना is nothing harmful, but you shouldn't become over reliant on it. बिना सोचे समझे उसको just ऐसे ही present मत कर. It is a good base to give you a quicker starting point. थोड़ा सा एक head start मिल गया उससे. बाकी का you need to involve yourself. Again, it comes back to, I think, giving more proper prompts, personalizing it more, adding some elements of yours to it. Rahul, you want to add something to it?
I've got lots to say, but I think today we'll get the perspective from Cyprus, Europe, and a lot of structural things to learn from the Europeans and the Americans for us, for sure. Where there's a lot of honesty in exploration, there's a lot of open conversation and candidness about what works, what doesn't work, and what are the repercussions which will be there. What I have seen in India is parents tend to have conversations which are a little more layered, which are a little more, a lot of things come into picture along with one specific area that we are discussing. Some of them might or might not be required in the conversation. So Sachin, one simple answer is leadership coaching program that I run is kind of an answer to some things that you have in mind. The cognitive degeneration that you spoke about is real, and we'll need to balance it with physical activities, keeping an X number of hours across all digital devices. You've got apps. So if you want to go, let's say you put a 2-hour limitation, and you have apps which specifically stop certain apps and not the entire phone. So your calls can continue, your WhatsApp conversations can continue, but your Insta can stop after 60 minutes in a 24-hour cycle, and your Snapchat can stop in 60 minutes or 20 minutes of a 24-hour cycle. So certain checks and balances, having honest, open conversations with the kid and pushing the kids out of the house, pushing them in the sunlight, pushing them in the soil. I remember at our times, I don't know if it resonates with a lot of you. We were out playing and we needed to be called back completely in soil, mitti, and end of the day completely sloshed out. At least a shade of that can be created, structured for students, kids. I know societies in India these days don't have a lot of playground options, but create those options where professional playgrounds are available. They can go out 2 times in a week, 3 times in a week, and regularly inculcate a few habits. Reading. Uh, uh, I believe Kavya, Sachin Grover's daughter, is with me in English program. Kavya is in the habit of reading, but uh, some or the other hobbies, interests needs to be inculcated for pushing them out of these four walls of house. Action
I think
activity automatically, sorry, I'll just complete, Richa.
Mhm.
Action activity automatically will reduce the desire to go and pull out that phone. And most importantly, kids are still copying, aping us as parents. I'm including myself because I have a 17-year-old son. Okay, and they are just copying us as parents. So if we are going to be on phone, whether काम के लिए or whatever, they don't consider up काम के लिए. They believe you are on phone. So that is something we need to. Sorry, Richard, please continue.
Yeah. No, I was just adding, I totally agree with what you said.
Mm.
Things like reading definitely that like opens your mind like anything. कोई म्यूजिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट, अगर कोई म्यूजिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट सीखना, कोई नई लैंग्वेज सीखना, आजकल लैंग्वेजेस आर अ बिग क्रेज. Encourage them to learn languages, any kind of dance form, and not necessarily putting them in classes for this, क्योंकि अगेन क्लासेस और फिर उसका एक स्ट्रक्चर और फिर वो चीज़, इट फील्स लाइक अ बर्डन ऑन द चाइल्ड. तो उनको अपना स्क्रीन्स अच्छी लगती है, उनको बोलो एक गिटार या छोटा माउथ ऑर्गन या कोई भी एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट लाके दो एंड टेल देम लर्न फ्रॉम कंप्यूटर. यूट्यूब वीडियो से देख के कैन यू लर्न इट. कोई एक नई चीज आप इतने आवर्स, यू कैन लाइक एज अ पेरेंट सेट अप अ चैलेंज कि इतने आवर्स इन अ वीक if you are on your screen, let's see what one new thing you have learned. No, it could be a skill, it could be a new piece of information. क्या नया सीखा किसी चीज के बारे में. So that will divert them from using their screens just for this Instagram, Snapchat towards learning something. And when you learn something, we know new nerves are created every time we learn something new. That is what keeps us cognitively sharp. So that learning could be in any direction. But ask them to learn something. And don't put the pressure of exam and achieving results in that. Let it be a fun activity.
So I think the last thing that Richa said has the most weightage in the current education system that unfortunately still persists in India. Everything is about achieving and not exploring and doing for the sake of doing. Yeah, thanks, Richa, for that answer. Sachin Grover, I hope your question is answered. I'll come back to you. We'll go to the next parent. Yes, Mr. Murari Gupta, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Richa, for a very meaningful presentation. And thank you, Rahul, for arranging this presentation. Another problem with the young generation is late nights. They wait till very late and they get up very late in the mornings. So, which is quite contradictory to what we have been doing all our lives, When I leave for office, my daughter is sleeping. So, very, very little time that I get to spend with her. So, what is the way out?
This is again some issue that I also face, and I would quote Rahul again here. The children are mimicking us. हम भी बहुत लेट नाइट तक हमें लगता है पूरे दिन का काम करके आए हैं, अब हम बैठ के थोड़ी देर नेटफ्लिक्स देखते हैं, थोड़ी देर ना प्राइम पे कोई सीरीज देखते हैं. एंड समटाइम्स इट्स नॉट in the living room on the TV, but we are on our bed and with our screens scrolling, and that is what they also kind of absorb. Setting time limits, स्कूल डेज में तो उठना ही पड़ता है, स्ट्रक्चर होता ही है. I think installing health apps works. Like I installed a health app. Apple phones में तो काफ़ी सारे ऐसे ही common है. I asked my daughter to do it for herself. So that tracks her sleep. And when it tracks its sleep, वो जब एक हफ्ते तक उसको लगातार ना वो एक नोटिफिकेशन आया, फोन कुछ कर नहीं सकता उसको, ना जल्दी सुला सकता है ना जल्दी उठा सकता है, बट जब वो रेड ब्लिंक करके आता है, पुअर स्लीप क्वालिटी, पुअर स्लीप क्वालिटी, पुअर स्लीप क्वालिटी, वो एक हफ्ते तक जब आता रहा, उसके बाद शी वाज सडनली, आई नीड टू स्लीप एट लीस्ट 7 to 8 hours, मेरी स्लीप क्वालिटी पुअर है, वो ऐप कह रहा है मेरी हेल्थ इफेक्ट हो रही है. तो द किड्स दीज डेज, हम बोलेंगे तुम्हारी हेल्थ खराब हो रही है, तुम्हें सोना ज़रूरी है, वो उन्हें नहीं समझ आता. वो ऐप बोलता है आप कम सो रहे हो, आपकी हेल्थ खराब हो रही है, बहुत जल्दी समझ में आता है. तो लेट्स यूज दिस टेक्नोलॉजी एज आर असिस्टेंट. Maybe install a tracking app and ask her to track, and tell her, you research for yourself ki how many hours you need to sleep for to have your growth hormones being active, जिससे तुम्हारी हाइट अच्छी हो, तुम्हारा स्किन क्वालिटी अच्छा हो. तो all these things they are very conscious about. This generation is very conscious about their health and fitness. तो उस एंगल से उनको समझा के एंड let them take the accountability. What I have observed, yeah.
I think this habit comes more from their friends than parents. This is my experience.
Yes, but again वही, to break the pattern, फ्रेंड से ज़्यादा वो रिलायबिलिटी कब आती है, जब आपका जो इंटरनेट गुरु है वो आपको कह रहा है कि नहीं नहीं यू आर नॉट डूइंग द राइट थिंग, तो वो खुद भी करेंगे और अपने फ्रेंड्स को भी बोलना शुरू करेंगे. एटलीस्ट इट हैज़ वर्कड हेयर इन माई डॉटर्स केस. मे बी इट्स वर्थ अ ट्राई.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Right, great. Thank you, Richa, for extending. We are almost 30 minutes above, so thank you for extending. Any parents have any other queries, any other questions to ask of Richa? You have what, 3.5 hours behind us, Richa?
2.5 hours.
2.5
I need to
hours.
leave in next 10 minutes to pick up my daughter.
No, so we will not keep you hanging. Anybody has any final questions? No, great. Chalo, thank you so much, Richa. Thank you for taking time out on this Sunday morning, afternoon in India, and complete morning in Cyprus. It was really wonderful to have you back after 1.5 years. We met sometime in 2024 where parents interacted with you. And hopefully we'll continue the association. In my leadership coaching program this year, I definitely intend to request your sessions with my students sometime, and we'll meet someday. Well, I'll take it offline and discuss that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's always wonderful interacting with parents, and also your questions help me also think differently, because I'm also in the same boat. I'm also parent of a 22-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. So I am also experiencing the similar range of emotions as you. So thank you for sharing your concerns with me, and I hope I was able to share what I am trying to implement.
Absolutely, Richa. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend. And thank you, parents. You have a wonderful weekend on the Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.